power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom.
The power of the heart.
Finding the power of the
Finding the
heart.
power of the heart.
The power of
Power
the
of
heart.
the heart. Power of the heart.
让我们寻回心的力量。
The
Power
power
of
of
the
the
heart.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yuru Chow. You are tuning in to the Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Today we will go over a real-life story from Malaysia. Our first Indian Tzu Chi commissioner in Klang, Malaysia is Miss Rajeswari. Although she is a Hindu devotee, Rajeswari has chosen to serve in Tzu Chi because this organization helps people of different races and religion. She said, "Everyone treats me like family. In fact, Tzu Chi is my family, and all the volunteers are my brothers and sisters. This is so different from the environment I grew up in, where everyone was constantly fighting with one another." So when showered with love from the volunteers, Rajeswari felt deeply touched and emotional. She was born in a plantation. She lived in an illegal hut. Rajeswari's mom worked as a rubber taper to supplement the family livelihood, while her alcoholic father earned a small income as a driver. Their life was very rough. Those fights and the cries from her mother had often shattered her little heart, and she would find ways to avoid her father when he was drunk. She also lived in an unsafe environment and was fearful every time she had to walk along the desolated and winding road in the plantation. In recalling her past, Rajeswari revealed, "When I was young, life was very hard. I especially did not like New Year or festive celebration because I didn't have anything proper to wear. My so-called new clothes were used clothes altered by my mother. She studied very hard to obtain good grades so that she would be able to find a good job, thereby giving her an opportunity to break away from her destiny as a poor Indian. When she was in high school, she got acquainted with some Chinese students who later became her good friends, and this was the start of her affinity with Tzu Chi. During the semester breaks, she said, "I stay in the house of a Chinese friend whose mother is a Tzu Chi volunteer. Mother Kuei Ying has a good heart, and she didn't look down on me because I was poor or am Indian. On the contrary, she provided me with the necessity in life, which enabled me to work part-time without worrying. She became my godmother," said Rajeswari. While staying with Mother Kuei Ying, Rajeswari also followed her to do Tzu Chi charitable work. With caring love from volunteers, Rajeswari slowly opened her heart to accept the differences in language, religion, and ethnicity. She admitted, "In the beginning, when I attended meetings or fellowships, I always sat in the back, like an outsider. But the volunteers were all very nice and went out of their way to make me feel at home in Tzu Chi. Only then I slowly moved to the front." She said, having visited many charitable cases and witnessed their suffering, she was very grateful that even though she was not rich, she is healthy and has enough to eat. Her temper has changed for the better, and her nephew no longer avoids her, but starts to bully her instead. She sometimes remembers this with a laugh. For special Tzu Chi activities, like Deepavali relief distribution, she would invite her friends to join so they could further understand Tzu Chi. She said, "Charity starts from home. My mom, who knows I'm doing good deeds, gave me lots of support." Rajeswari now can diligently walk the Tzu Chi Bodhisattva path without worry. When she participated in the water repentance study class, she learned and understood about karma, retribution, and affinity. In 2011, her brother passed away suddenly, and this had saddened the whole family. Then at the end of 2012, she had problems with her vertebrae. She realized that these were all the result of her karma from previous lives. Thus, she accepts these consequences in her present life. She has also vowed to invite more Indians to join this big family of Tzu Chi. When fellow volunteers learned that I have this problem, all of them were all concerned. Now wherever I go, I will be stopped. Volunteers will approach me to show their concern. This warm feeling was something that I had never felt before. After becoming a member of Tzu Chi family, I became the most pampered one. I found the love that I never had when I was young. I'm really touched, sad, and emotional, Rajeshwari. As the first Indian commissioner of Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, she has to shoulder an important responsibility and mission. The strength of one person is limited, but if everyone sticks out their little finger, it will become a great, irresistible power to push great giant car. Rajeshwari hopes that this power can spread among the Indians so that they can all work hard together for a pure land in our world. In our program today, we'll begin with a reading of Dharma Master Cheng Yan's teaching about wholesome friends. This reading is performed by Dharma Master Derling. Then after a short break, we'll discuss this teaching with Miss Candy Yuan.
Welcome back to The Power of the Heart.
The Power of the Heart, Part 2, Cultivation. Today we will be listening to the teaching on wholesome friends. As mundane beings, we really need to make friends with people of good character, for they can have a positive influence on us by encouraging us to do good, pointing out the errors we make, and preventing us from going astray when we are in the deep suffering of anguish and afflictions. When we become afflicted and get confused about what to do with our life, we are like a traveler who loses his orientation and doesn't know which way to go. The way for him to get back on track is to quickly seek help from someone who can point out the right road. When he is given directions, he should really mindfully listen. Otherwise, he will soon get lost again and not be able to reach his destination. In life, we need wholesome friends beside us. Not only can they provide guidance, support, and encouragement, they also set a good example for us There is a story from the Buddha's time which highlights how important having wholesome friends is. One day, when the Buddha and his disciples were out on a journey, they saw a string on the path. The Buddha asked one of his disciples to pick it up, and the disciple tentatively did so with his thumb and forefinger. Seeing this, the Buddha asked why he did not hold the string more firmly. He replied honestly, "Buddha, it really stinks." "Why does the string stink?" the Buddha asked. "Perhaps it was once used to tie fish," the disciple guessed, "and the bad smell came from the fish." "The fish is long gone," the Buddha noted, "so why does the string still smell so bad?" "It must have been used to tie the fish for long enough to absorb the smell," the disciple offered. The Buddha agreed. The fish and the string were once together, but are now apart. Yet the string still has the smell of the fish on it. You can think about this more. Continuing on their journey, they soon saw a piece of wrapping on the path. The Buddha asked the same disciple to pick it up. The disciple did so with a smile on his face. "You seem very happy to find this wrapping," the Buddha observed. "Yes, Buddha, it smells pleasant, like sandalwood." The Buddha smiled back and said, "It's a piece of wrapping. Why do you speak of sandalwood?" "Well," replied the disciple, "it must have been used to wrap sandalwood for it to smell like sandalwood. And although it isn't used to wrap the wood anymore, its scent lingers." The Buddha seized the occasion to offer a teaching. Yes, we human beings are exactly like the string and the wrapping. If we often mix with wayward friends, it will be hard not to be influenced by them. If we are surrounded by wholesome friends, we will have them as good examples to follow. I remember a case that illustrated this when I visited Daling Tzu Chi Hospital some time ago. Entering the busy lobby, I saw a young man sitting in a wheelchair, accompanied by a Tzu Chi volunteer who seemed very kind and gentle. Walking toward them, I found that the young man's body was covered with tattoos, and the pattern extended to his hands and palms. I was very curious about why he had been admitted to the hospital, so I bent down to meet his eyes and speak to him. It turned out he had been injured in a fight after getting drunk with some friends. I patted his hand in encouragement, and seeing the openness and sincerity in his eyes, I told him, "You are still young and have your whole life ahead of you. Do you really want to spend your precious time that way, getting drunk with friends and getting into fights?" I encouraged him to think on it and told him, "It would be wonderful if the next time we meet, it turned out that you were there as a volunteer helping others." He nodded and gave me a timid smile. I smiled back and said, "Best wishes to you." One day, sometime later, I saw him on a Da'ai TV program, being introduced as a dedicated Tzu Chi recycling volunteer. He told the interviewer about meeting me in the Daling Tzu Chi Hospital and how my words and encouragement from Tzu Chi volunteers in the hospital inspired him to lead a more meaningful life. When he was discharged from the hospital, it wasn't easy to begin anew. Knowing this, he kept in close contact with Tzu Chi volunteers and started volunteering at a Tzu Chi recycling station. He spent whatever time he could there, turning down his old friends' invitations to join them in their activities. At the recycling station, he was surrounded by people of good character and received a great deal of support and encouragement from them. In this wholesome environment, his conviction to change was firm. He gave up smoking, drinking, and drugs. At home, he established a daily habit of copying out Jingsi aphorisms. When his old friends sought him out, he would give them the aphorisms. He even ended up influencing some of them for the better. This young man was greatly touched and positively influenced by the unconditional love and care of many Tzu Chi volunteers. His experience encouraged him to take the initiative in helping others to get back on track, as he had learned how important it is to have wholesome friends. Drawing close to friends of good character, we enwrap ourselves in wholesome influences. We will be inspired to reflect on our thoughts and behaviors and to cultivate ourselves to become better people. Indeed, wholesome friends are like mentors to students, a guide at the crossroads, fragrant sandalwood to a wrapping sheet, and dharma to our afflicted mind.
Hello, my name is Candy and I'm from Hualien. My favorite Jinsi aphorism is, don't underestimate yourself, for human beings have unlimited potentials. I like it because it's easy for me to lose confidence, and this aphorism could remind me to believe in myself and cheer me up. And it reminds me that once we know what we want to do and we set up the goal, then we should just go for it. May wisdom and inspirations be with you always.
You are listening to the Power of the Heart on Da Radio.
Our special guest today is Candy Yuan. Candy joined Buddha Tzu Chi Foundation soon after she graduated from college. Now she volunteers and works at Tzu Chi. We are so happy to have you, Candy. Welcome.
Hello.
You are a very young woman. Joining Tzu Chi at such a young age, I am really interested to find out what inspired you to join Tzu Chi.
I think it must be Master Cheng Yen's compassion and wisdom that I firstly really know about Tzu Chi because I went to attend the Tzu Chi summer camp in Toronto, and in the camp I realized like how meaningful a person's life can be. That it's not just about school or career or just our own family. It can also care about many other people around the world, not just in your own nation or your own neighborhood. It can be like for different races and different countries.
Wow, you're very lucky. So early on in school that you already know a bunch of wholesome friends.
Oh, yes.
And then they introduce you to Tzu Chi, and then from Tzu Chi activity, you get to know more about the world, and you care about the world while you're still a student. I think most of the students in school, they only care about food and party, and that you awaken from that very early on. That by joining Tzu Chi, become a youth volunteer, that you already care for the world, and then thinking about how to bring peace and well-being to the world.
Yes, I think I'm very lucky to meet like such a different, it's such a special group of person there, because it's not just like the young people in the current society that we might just care about like our own life, or just wondering like where to go and have fun every day, so we can have the chance to broaden our view of the world and to really think what's the meaning of life, and how, because like there's only one time of living the life, so what's the most valuable way to expand your life.
Indeed. Recently, from a morning volunteer assembly, Dharma Master Zhen was saying that she often watched the news and TV program complaining about that people nowadays are having such a boring life. They don't know what to do with themselves. And that's why they create all these entertainment to fill their time with. And Master Zhen was reflecting, saying that, see, all our volunteers, they don't have such problem, because keeping ourselves involved in Tzu activity, that we broaden our view, we find meaning in our life, and we never have that problem with a boring life. No volunteer has a boring life. We actually have too little time to do too many meaningful projects.
Yes.
And we are always looking for more time to do more things, because we know there are a lot of people in need out there. And that is why it's very important to be with wholesome friends. Because if we mix with wayward friends, we'll waste time, waste our life away, and it will not be easy to get away from their influence. So that's why we need to surround ourselves with wholesome friends. Then we'll have many good examples to follow. Now, Candy, you are with the Information Technology Department of the Foundation right now. Can you share with us some of the project that you're working on?
Because I'm in the software team of the department, so what I'm doing is to develop applications for the Tzu Foundations. And the current projects I'm doing is regarding like the donation systems, and also the applications regarding our Tzu ebook, and also some e-commerce applications like the web donations or the online ebook store to for people to like purchase the online publications for the ebook.
Wow, you are protecting the millions of donors' identity out there, because I believe with this donation system you're developing, one of the very important aspects you guys are paying attention to is identity, security of all the donors' identity. Because we all know hacking of information data is a big problem right now in our society. Even though we are a charity foundation, but we also need to pay attention to protect all the identity information of our donors, because I am sure we don't want any malicious attack on our system and to disclose any of this information wrongly. So with what you do, that you protect all these people's identity. And also, I believe with all these e-commerce and the e-book software you're developing, you're also contributing to environmental protection, because that's the reason why we have all these e-books and all these type of e-commerce activity, because we want to reduce the consumption of paper. Knowledge exchange is very important. We all need to learn. But right now, with ebook as an alternative, that we can really reduce the use of our magazine and our books, then we still get all these latest information without cutting down tree and making them into paper. But it's very difficult. It's a new technology, and it's still being developed here in Taiwan. Actually, as a matter of fact, all around the world, it's a very new field. So working in this field, you must feel a lot of challenges and always learning new things to keep up with the latest industry development. Right?
Yes, indeed.
So you see, that's why Candy never feel a boring moment in her life, because she has so much to catch up with. Now, can you share with us how to be a wholesome friend to your colleague and fellow volunteers, or even your neighbors and anyone you met on the street?
I think I'm very lucky to be surrounded by many wholesome friends, because since I was still in college, I was surrounded by all these Tzu friends, and now I was surrounded by these Tzu people as my colleagues. And I think so. From there, I think to be a wholesome friend, we need to be sincere and be faithful, So, but at the same time, we have to be honest. So we should speak out what's the right thing, and also do the right thing at the right time.
Indeed, with the sincerity of heart, we can always watch out for other people's best interests and guide them on the right path, and together that we can walk on this cultivation path to achieve enlightenment and that purity within us. Thank you, Candy. We will be listening to this book over the next several episodes. Please join us next time to continue our discussion on the power of the heart. If you want to read this book we're talking about, you can find a copy of this book in any Jingsi bookstore and cafe. For more teaching from Dharma Master Zheng Yan, please tune in next time to our program. Goodbye and have a great day.
Let's leave for our children a planet clean and pure. Let's leave for our children a river crystal clear. Let's leave for our children a blue sky shining bright. Let's leave for our children a meadow lush with light. May love's great compassion comfort all the weary souls. May love's great compassion make the world a brighter place. May this great compassion make us dream a pure great love, flowing round the planet, changing hearts forevermore. Let's leave for our children a planet clean and pure. Let's leave for our children a river crystal clear. Let's leave for our children a blue sky shining bright. Let's leave for our children a meadow lush with light. May love's great compassion comfort all the weary souls. May love's great compassion make the world a brighter place. May this great compassion make us dream a pure great love,